In this demo, I will show you how Purview DLP and Insider Risk Management for M365 Copilot and Chat work together to protect your most sensitive data. Microsoft 365 Copilot has become a natural part of everyday work, helping employees create, collaborate, and move faster inside Microsoft 365. Microsoft 365 Copilot is designed to work with your existing data and permissions and only access data that the user has permission to see. But as Copilot surfaces information across emails, files, chats, and sites, long-standing issues like oversharing and sensitive data exposure become more visible. This is where Microsoft Purview comes in. In this demo, you will see how Purview works behind the scene to remediate oversharing, create secure guardrails to prevent data loss, and detect insider risks, and support regulatory requirements, all without asking end users to become security experts. Purview provides the secure foundation that enables organizations to scale Copilot confidently, keeping data protected while productivity stays seamless. Let's start by seeing some of these guardrails in action. First, let's walk through the end user experience to see how Copilot uses these labels to protect responses and audit files. Here I am an analyst working at Java. I want Copilot to quickly summarize project information for my weekly status report. So we'll start in a new document. So I'm going to select new document. Java uses sensitivity labels to protect sensitive data in the organization. Sensitivity labels can apply protections such as access permissions. Here are some of the sensitivity labels used by Java. I'm going to select sensitivity labels. Since the document is new and there isn't content in it, no label has been applied. To apply a label, we'll start by giving this new document a name. Now let's use Microsoft 365 Copilot to create a project summary for my status report. I'm going to select the product summary of Mark 8 project status. Right away, Copilot recognizes the file referenced in this prompt has a sensitivity label. And we can see that here. But let's generate the summary. We can see that the project summary has automatically inherited the sensitivity label from the source file, eliminating the need for the end user to manually apply the label, which ensures content created by Copilot is protected by default. Copilot plus Microsoft Purview also enables you to decide how Copilot is allowed to use and process sensitive data in your organization. Let's look at one of these options. So at the top of the screen here, I'm going to click on the Fabric and Merger Documents tab, which is I have it open. Java is working on a very sensitive merger with Fabricam. In the Fabricant merger SharePoint site, I can see that these files are used in a sensitivity label called mergers and acquisitions. Java security team has decided that anything with the mergers and acquisitions sensitivity label is too sensitive to be used by Copilot to inform responses. So let's see how Purview enforces this guardrail. At the top of the screen here, I'm going to select the Copilot in Microsoft 365 Copilot browser tab. And this is to show this, I will ask Copilot to summarize one of the mergers status report. So I'm going to select the Fabricant merger status for July 8, 2025, and I'm going to run this. Instead of generating a summary of the file, Copilot informs me that the file is restricted by my organization's security policy. This response happens because the security team has a DLP for M365 Copilot policy that prevents Copilot from processing or referencing files with the mergers and acquisition sensitivity label. I'm gonna select a new chat. Now let's look at our last guardrail option for sensitive information used by Copilot. I have heard a rumor about a secret project called Project Falcon, and I want to try and learn more about it. I asked Copilot to provide a summary of Project Falcon. Since Project Falcon is a very secret project, Java's data security admins have added it as a sensitive keyword that should be blocked if entered in a Copilot prompt. This means the sensitive data will not be used for grounding, either using internal data or the web, and Copilot will decline to provide a response. In addition to keywords, you could block other types of sensitive data, such as credit cards or PII, personal identifiable information. Now, let's look at how an admin can set up these types of guardrails to ensure a secure and governed deployment of Copilot. Here we are in Microsoft Purview Data Security Posture Management. The SPM gives security teams a unified view of where sensitive data is located, how it is being used, and what to fix first so they can reduce risk and adopt Copilot with confidence. I'm going to click on Objectives. The SPN objectives translate data security goals into outcome-based workflows, guiding teams to the highest risk issues first with recommended actions across Purview to improve posture and reduce exposure. Let's look at how we can prevent data exposure in Microsoft 365 Copilot interactions. I'm going to click on View Objective. The Prevent Data Exposure in Microsoft 365 Copilot interactions objective helps security teams identify and reduce the risk of sensitive data being surfaced through Copilot by guiding them to discover overshare content and apply protections like the DLP for Copilot's policies that you saw earlier, all through a single outcome-based workflow. I'm going to click on View Remediation Plan. This remediation plan walks you through exactly what to do next. It flags where Copilot could surface sensitive data, then suggests targeted fixes like tightening permissions on overshared sites applying the right sensitivity labels, and turning on DLP policies so Copilot simply skips protected content with ongoing checks to catch new exposure as usage grows. Let's look at the action to protect sensitive data referenced in Microsoft 365 Copilot. I'm going to click on View Policy Details. Here you can see the policy that's already in place. It blocks Copilot from referencing files with a specific sensitivity label. We saw this policy in action earlier in the demo when Copilot declined to summarize the document with the mergers and acquisition sensitivity label. As another example, the enforce existing DLP policy to protect data in M365 Copilot action is the policy that you saw earlier that blocked Copilot from processing a prompt that contained the Project Falcon sensitive data. I'm going to select View Progress. The Boost Your Compliance Health action helps you quickly improve your compliance posture by highlighting gaps against regulatory requirements and guiding you to apply the right purview controls and policies to close them. So if I click on View Policy Details, the Detect Risky Interactions in Microsoft 365 Copilot action helps security teams identify unusual or high-risk Copilot prompts and responses, providing visibility into emerging misuse or policy gaps so they can take targeted action before data exposure occurs. Let's take a closer look at insider risk management, which is the solution behind this remediation action. I'm going to cancel this and I'm going to look into insider risk management. Insider risk management helps to minimize internal risks by enabling the detection, investigation, and response to risky activity. It uses logs from Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Graph to help quickly identify, triage, and act on risk activity. Let's create a policy to look for risky activities while using Copilot or agents. So on the left, click on Policies. From here, I can review all my policies and create new ones. So I'm going to create a new policy and I'm going to choose Quick Policy. I want to review the risky AI usage policy. So in the risky AI usage title, I'm going to select Get Started. By default, a lot of the information is filled out for me, but I can change fields as needed. I can also see the types of activity that this policy looks for listed under the interactions action. I'm going to close this because that has been applied. Once this policy is set up, it will generate alerts when the indicator actions occurred. So let's review those alerts here on the alerts link. This alert is related to risky Copilot use, specifically entering sensitive prompts or receiving confidential responses. I can see the number and type of events that occurred and view details about each event. Note the user's information is pseudonymized by default to help ensure user level privacy. In order to dig deeper to investigate this risky usage and other potentially related activities, I can add multiple alerts to a case. So if we can select cases and then select the risky AI usage case. Within the risky AI use case, I can review the details, the status, and aggregate risk score across all alerts. The case has a risk score of 75, which is very high. Let's see what's going on in here. So let's click on user activity. On the left, I see the user enter a prompt into Copilot that was flagged as risky. The chain of events shows the prompt enter and the response both contain sensitive information. If I scroll down, I see the user accessed the sensitive files from the Copilot response in SharePoint and downloaded them onto an unmanaged device. This sequence of activities may indicate an exfiltration event is happening, where this user is trying to steal sensitive data. Regardless of the user's intent, the activity is concerning and needs to be addressed. Using adaptive protection, I can automatically protect our organization's sensitive data when insider risk detects a high risk behavior pattern. So on the left, I'm going to click on adaptive protection. The adaptive protections dashboard gives a quick view of the number of elevated, moderate, and minor risk users within the organization. I'm going to select insider risk levels. From the insider risk levels page, I can set conditions to determine each risk level. So I'm going to click on under the elevator risk level. I'm going to select this drop down box, and then I'm going to select the high severity alert confirmed for user. Now I'll decide what happens when a user has a high risk level. I'm going to select conditional access. Here I have a conditional access policy that blocks users with a high risk level from accessing any SharePoint sites labeled confidential or highly confidential. Of course, this will also block the user from accessing files on these sites using Copilot or agents. Using adaptive protection helps to protect my organization's sensitive information from high risk users while balancing productivity for non risky users. With Microsoft Purview, I can control how sensitive data is used by Copilot and agents, set up guardrails to proactively protect sensitive data, and then apply more strict dynamic protections that automatically respond to risky behavior. Thanks for watching. I hope that this content has been informative.